There's something God does with Libra that no other sign understands in the same way. He doesn't just close doors, he takes people with him. And for a long time, Libra called this a loss. Have you ever stopped in the middle of an absolutely ordinary day, washing dishes, stuck in traffic, waiting for the shower water to heat up, and felt the absence of someone who is no longer in your life? Not with that sharp, chest-tight longing, but with that dull strangeness of someone who realizes that a room in the house has been removed overnight. Not the furniture, the entire room. With the walls, with the specific light that came through the window, with the smell that only existed there. That's exactly what Libra feels when a relationship ends. Not a separation, a silent amputation. And when the person finally leaves, for real, with no possibility of reversal, what remains isn't just the pain. It's a question that won't stop. The most disturbing thing isn't even the pain itself. It's the doubt that comes with it, silent, persistent, offering no peace at any time of day or night. Was it you? Was it the other person? Was it time passing without anyone having enough awareness to stop it? Was it a word said at the wrong moment? A silence that lasted a day longer than it should have? A distance that started small and grew until distance became the natural state between the two? Libra spends months, sometimes years, placing these elements on an imaginary scale, weighing each detail with exhausting meticulousness, trying to find the exact point where everything collapsed. As if understanding the cause with sufficient precision could undo the effect. As if, by finding the right answer, the pain would recede a little and the mind would finally rest from the relentless work. But the scales never balance, because some things don't have measurable weight. And Libra, which understands balance better than any other sign of the zodiac, which was born with this almost organic sense of proportion and justice, still insists on finding a reasonable distribution of blame in an experience that may simply not have any fair answer available. Here is the first paradox, and it will hurt a little more than it seems at first glance. Libra doesn't break relationships. Libra sustains them. When a connection begins to show signs of failure, when the signs are clear to outsiders, when the strain is visible to any honest observer, Libra puts in more effort, more delicacy in dealing with things, more presence at the right times, more attempts to find the angle that harmonizes what is already fundamentally out of balance. As if the right amount of care could revive something that stopped breathing long before Libra was willing to acknowledge it. Imagine a song playing on repeat in a completely empty room. Not because someone is still there listening, not because there's a party happening, but because whoever put the music on genuinely can't, press the stop button, because stopping would mean admitting that the party is over. That the space that was filled with so much meaning, so many conversations that mattered, so much intimacy carefully built over time, is now just a room with furniture and walls and the smell of something that was. And stopping, for Libra, feels like a form of violence. Against the other, against the memory of what existed between them, against their own identity that was slowly woven within that bond over months or years. Breaking up seems more disturbing than enduring, so Libra endures. Because here is what few truly understand about Libra, and what perhaps Libra themselves rarely name with such clarity. This sign doesn't just relate to people, it sees itself through them. Each relationship is, to some extent, a living mirror, a surface that reflects back a specific version of who Libra is, with its qualities amplified, its fears confirmed or challenged, its identity continually calibrated by contact with the other, by what the other sees, by what the other values or ignores. And when that mirror disappears, when the person leaves, when the bond dissolves with or without adequate explanation, when the separation happens and there's nothing Libra can do to reverse it, Libra doesn't just lose a presence. They also lose a version of themselves that only existed in that particular reflection, a version that may never exist again in exactly that form. And this loss within the loss is what truly endures. And then comes the question that hangs in the air. What does Libra carry within itself without being able to even properly formulate it, let alone answer it honestly? What happens when this mirror is not removed by Libra, but by the universe itself? It was while searching for answers to this that I found this digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose. It doesn't approach astrology the way you're used to. It goes straight to what Libra feels, but rarely manages to name with such precision. This profound perception that certain losses don't seem random, that there's an intelligence behind what goes away, that the separation, however painful it may be while it happens, has a form, and that form says something worth listening to when you're ready to hear it. And the book offers something concrete, a way to begin to see the pattern instead of remaining trapped within the pain, unable to escape, to transform what seems like abandonment into guidance, to understand that what the universe takes from Libra is rarely carelessness. It is almost always curation, an active, intentional selection made by an intelligence operating with a vision that Libra, from within, simply does not have access to at the moment when the pain is most intense. You're at that point now, still processing. This is the moment, not when the doubt has passed, not when the wound has healed. Now. Because this is when the openness is real, when a new perspective has a real chance of changing something permanently. The link is in the first pinned comment, but be aware this content may be taken down. Click now and download your copy. And before we continue, tell me in the comments, who was the last person who left your life in a way that you still can't fully explain to yourself? You don't need to say their name, just the feeling that remained. Sometimes naming it is the beginning of understanding what it truly meant. The answer to that question that lingered begins with a very simple image, almost too obvious to reveal something so profound. Imagine a gardener, not the idealized type from stories, with a clean apron and perfectly arranged flowers. The real gardener, who arrives early when the air is still cold, with soil already in his hands before even his first coffee, with pruning shears that have touched many branches over the years and know what he'll find on the other side. He scans the tree with his eyes first, with the familiarity of someone who has cared for it long enough to know every branch, every fork, every point that carries more weight than it should. And he identifies a branch that is dead. Not visibly rotten, not obviously fallen, not with grotesque signs that any passerby would notice at a glance. Dead inside. No sap circulation, no ability to produce more leaves, more flowers, more growth in any available direction. A branch that from the outside still seems present, still occupies space in the tree's silhouette, still seems to be part of the whole. And the gardener cuts, without hesitation, without ceremony, without a single moment's doubt about whether he is being unfair to that branch, whether he should have tried something else, whether there was another path that has not yet been explored. Because he knows, with the kind of certainty that only comes from long and honest experience with what grows and what no longer grows, that a dead branch is not only useless, it drains. It consumes the sap that should be circulating through the branches that still have life within them, that still have direction, that still have everything they need to grow and flourish if the energy stops being redirected to where there is no longer a possible future. The universe works this way with Libra, not with cruelty, with precision, with an intelligence that operates on a level that, from within the pain, from within the emotional confusion of someone in the midst of the process, is impossible to access with sufficient clarity to understand what is happening, because you are looking at the cut, feeling the cut, and the one who cuts is looking at the entire tree, at what that specific cut will release, where that energy can go when it is no longer being consumed by what has no future. The people who were removed from your life didn't leave because you failed definitively. Some left precisely because you were growing in a direction that the bond with them couldn't keep up with, because what existed had already given all it had to give, and keeping it alive required energy that was being drawn from something that still had so much more to offer. The problem is that from within the pain, the pattern is invisible. You see the cut, you feel the cut. You don't see what the cut was protecting. And Libra, which has this genuinely extraordinary ability to perceive beauty and balance in the things around it, in people, in environments, in the relationships between ideas, in the nuances that most people miss, becomes blind precisely here. When beauty lies not in what remains, but in what has been taken away, and the reason why it was taken away. But after the breakup, something happens, something subtle, slow, that Libra rarely allows itself to notice because it's too busy processing the absence, trying to fill the void, trying to return to the previous state it felt like balance, even when perhaps that wasn't really the case. A space emerges, not a melancholic and unbearable emptiness. A real space, with concrete dimensions, with a quality of silence that wasn't available before, with a different air texture that only those who have known a full space can notice when it finally becomes empty. And Libra, who has been trained by nature, by temperament, by repeated experience throughout a lifetime, to fill spaces, to harmonize what is incomplete, to put something good where there is a lack, feels this space as an immediate threat, as an urgency that needs a quick response, as a situation that needs to be resolved before the discomfort of the emptiness becomes too great. New friendship, new relationship, a new dynamic to take the place of what was, something that fills the void left behind with a speed that brings relief. But what if this isn't the right move right now? What if the space that's left is exactly the size Libra has always needed and never had full access to? Space for itself, without a mirror, without anyone's reflection, without its identity being constantly calibrated by the gaze of another. There is a geometry in Libra's relationships that is not random. It is not accumulated coincidence. A pattern that repeats itself with variations over the years. The same fundamental dynamics with different faces, the same tension points arriving from different angles, but with the same emotional signature at the end, the same moments of rupture that seem completely new, but which, when Libra looks back honestly, have the same form as all the previous ones. And Libra notices this sometimes. There's that unsettling moment of recognition, not again, not here again, this specific pattern again. But rarely does it delve deep enough to understand why this pattern keeps presenting itself. The reason is simpler and more disturbing than it seems when you're in the middle of the situation. Libra, at its core, doesn't seek compliments. It seeks mirrors. People who reflect what hasn't yet been fully resolved internally, who confirm fears that haven't yet been examined honestly enough, who activate patterns that are still waiting to be seen, named, truly traversed. What carries an unresolved wound of rejection will attract repeatedly in varying forms. What will one day go away without the explanation that would seem adequate, not as punishment, as geometry, as the universe trying to show again the same point that still needs real attention. A kaleidoscope produces completely different patterns with each turn. Each image is new, has its own symmetry, its own specific beauty. But the internal fragments are always the same. The shape changes because the angle changes. The raw material does not change. Libra changes people. It changes situations, contexts, environments. But while the internal fragments remain the same, while the unexamined wounds remain active beneath the surface, while the unseen patterns continue to operate silently, the relationships will continue to produce variations on the same theme, with more or less intensity, with more or less pain, but with the same recognizable signature in the end. And it is precisely here that the separation that seemed like a loss begins to reveal what it truly is. a necessary interruption in the cycle, the universe breaking the pattern before Libra gets completely lost within it once again. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey towards the clarity and genius you deserve. There's a beautiful yet slightly unsettling irony when you look at Libra with genuine honesty. This sign has an almost instinctive faith in the universe. Not necessarily religious, it can be spiritual, philosophical, or simply that visceral feeling that things tend to settle down, that there is a higher intelligence operating behind the apparent chaos. This faith is not learned, it is constitutive, it is part of what Libra is. But there is a blind spot in this faith, a specific place where it, strangely, cannot reach with the same naturalness as it does in all other places. Libra rarely extends to themselves the same belief that they generously apply to the entire universe and to all other people in it. Trust that the universe has plans for others, that the losses of others are part of something bigger. Libra can say this with genuine conviction and offers this perspective with a generosity that comes from a true place. But when it's the loss itself, the pain that doesn't easily pass, the separation that hurts on a level that's not easy to access or articulate with words that do justice to what's being felt. There, faith wavers in a specific and recognizable way. Then Libra begins to calculate what it did wrong, to revisit each decision with excessively critical eyes, to distribute blame with a meticulousness that it doesn't apply to any other person in the same circumstances. The faith that applies to the entire universe suddenly finds no space for the specific and personal situation it is experiencing now. It's like a compass that points accurately to all the cardinal directions around, guiding anyone who needs to find their way. But when it needs to find its own north, it spins endlessly without settling anywhere. What would Libra be like if it truly believed, not as a pretty concept to keep in a phrase and resort to on particularly difficult days, not as a reserved philosophy available to others but rarely to itself, but as an embodied certainty, as an internal structure that doesn't waver when the pain is personal, that the universe also acts in its favor with the same intelligence with which it acts in favor of everyone, that what was taken away with care, not carelessly, that each separation that hurt was part of a repositioning that is not yet fully visible but is already happening. This is not passive resignation. It is not accepting whatever happens with the indifference of someone who has given up on wanting something. It is a type of faith that releases real and considerable energy. Because when Libra stops expending energy trying to understand, control, or justify what is not available to be controlled or calculated with the human logic of the moment, that same energy, which is sophisticated, which is considerable, which is one of the most refined energies of the entire zodiac, becomes available to build what is yet to come. And what's to come for Libra is always greater than what has been. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey towards the clarity and genius you deserve. In the end, what God does to Libra is not punishment. It is not negligence disguised as destiny. It is not abandonment by another more presentable name. It is not cosmic indifference to what Libra feels while the process unfolds and the pain is still very present. It's curation. Curating requires a type of discernment that the curated piece rarely possesses about itself. A work of art doesn't know it's a work of art. It can't see itself in a museum with its full context. It can't understand why it was placed exactly there among those other specific works, with that lighting that highlights exactly what the curator wanted passers-by to perceive. Only the curator knows the whole picture. Only those on the outside, with a view of the entire collection, see the design that all the individual choices form together. Libra is the work itself, and whoever oversees this path Call it God, the universe, a higher intelligence, destiny, whatever name makes the most sense to your particular way of understanding these things, is seeing the whole that Libra cannot see from within its own experience at the moment it is happening. Each person who left opened up a space with a specific shape, not the outline of absence, the sketch of what is to come, a silhouette of what is still arriving, of what will still occupy that place in a way that will make more sense than anything that existed before. Libra has an ability that few signs possess, to see beauty where others see only the surface, to perceive the balance behind the apparent imbalance, to find the pattern where most see only chaos. This ability wasn't given to Libra to use only on others. It was given so that Libra could learn to use it on their own life as well, on their own history, on their own losses, which, seen with this perspective, reveal a disturbing and profoundly beautiful pattern to finally see. When this happens, when Libra stops looking at what has been taken away and starts looking at the pattern that the sum of these losses forms, something changes inside. Not dramatically, not in a turnaround that everyone around notices immediately, silently and permanently, like when the light changes angle and what was in the shadows suddenly becomes visible, and you realize it was always there. You didn't lose people, you were repositioned. And whoever repositioned you knows exactly where you need to be, always knew, knows now, at this very moment, even while you're still processing, still trying to find the fair distribution of blame on a scale that will never balance this. Because that's not what it was made to weigh. It was designed to weigh what truly matters. And what matters for Libra is never who you were. It's always been who you are becoming in the space you've been left behind.